I'm here to learn something today from Chris Kallianatis. Chris Kallianiotis.
Yes,
Beautiful.
got it.
I was practicing all the last hour. I was sitting here going, Kallianiotis. So beautiful. Is that close enough? Is that as close as people get?
That's right on the head.
Beautiful. As Greek of a name as humanly possible here. Awesome. Episode 107. We are here learning stuff for everyone. Plugs up top here. If you're interested in a music video, making a unique and relevant music video, I always say it too fast, but that's okay. If you want to know, you know. Let's reach out. I think the year is probably full, so probably into 2026, but also who knows? Things always cancel, plans change. Hit me up if you got time. Chris, my man, November 8th, opening up for Anthems at the Rockhopper in Milford, Connecticut.
So excited.
Have you ever played there before? Is this
No,
a new
I haven't.
venue?
That's gonna be a first for me.
They are the best. Obviously, it's their EP release, so please go shout out them. We were talking a minute ago how we're going to be glazing TJ's entire episode, so I guess it starts right off the bat here that, yes, go support TJ and the boys.
Shout out TJ. He's done everything for us, man.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Anthems is a go.
Yep.
Go support them. Kallian Productions here, also for any, mixing, mastering, writing, like the whole 9 yards of anything.
Yep.
And I think it's also a pretty wide genre of music here, where obviously the metalcore is your forte here.
Yep, metalcore, pop punk.
But I think we're pretty open. So
yeah,
anyone interested in whatever, go make music happen. Go make life happen here.
Come record. Send me stuff. Let's do it.
Beautiful. Diving right into stuff here. This past weekend, you were playing at Cherry Street. You headlined at Cherry Street here. That show looked nuts. I saw a recap that went out today. And I guess, as I'm recording this, it is 3 weeks ahead of when it'll go out. So as I saw the recap today, people are going to be like, hey, that wasn't today. But whatever. Shut up. I'm doing my best. Life's been busy and I'm trying my best to hang on. It looks sick as fuck. I feel like headlining now is like a big leap, and I feel like you've been doing this for so many years, and I'm sure it wasn't your first time headlining, or I assume it wasn't.
So for Take the Flame, it was like our first like headliner.
Sick.
But I'd say a lot of people consider our debut show as like a headliner, even though we weren't technically last. But it's always Cherry Street's always awesome, dude.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's easy to book. Everybody who goes to Cherry Street always brings the energy, and it's just nuts, you know?
People love it. I'm shocked. I don't think I've ever been there, which to me is like shocking and hard to believe because it's 4 minutes from my apartment, as I'm doxing myself here lately. But yeah, I have been meaning to go there forever, and it just somehow has never quite worked out for me. There's always something else, and at this point, I feel like I'm booking my calendar further in advance, and a lot of times things are announced. So it's kind of just luck of the draw. Like, did I end up with something that day? And unfortunately, this time I did, so I couldn't be there. But yeah, there's a lot of homies on the show. I was hoping to go support, and life had other plans for me.
That's all right. It happens.
But it seemed like the best time here. I feel like headlining is always like has a lot of pros and cons here. Like, how did it go for you guys? How did it feel for you guys?
It was like it felt like any other show almost.
Beautiful.
You know, we showed up. All the bands showed up. All the bands did really, really good, really well. Sorry, English. Sorry, Mom. But yeah, it went great. I mean, it's the best way I could put it. It was just easy, you know?
What's the wait for headlining like? Like, to me, I think that's always the biggest con of headlining is the idea of playing last and having to sit there the entire night, where there's the good thing of you get to watch everyone else perform, and that's fun. Yeah. But you also have this thing looming over you of like, I got to stay on my toes. I got to do this thing. Like, how was that experience waiting for the moment?
It was great. We had a lot of friends show up, so it was cool to kind of hang out with them and kind of see them, catch up with some people that I haven't seen in a little while. And that alone gives me like the energy to be like, oh man, I'm about to play for like my friends. You know what I mean? And like there are some people that like come out that I don't really know that well that like the band, and that gives me even more energy. You know, so that like when we go up there, it's like, oh man, this is it. Like, we're just going to like have a really good time. It's like, I view it as a big party, you know?
That's the right way to do it. Yeah.
So it's just fun, man. I love playing shows.
That's the way. And I think if I was a headlining band, I would spend the entire night shitting myself. I would just be so terrified the entire time. It sounds like you do a really good job of taking whatever nervous energy that I think we all have to some degree and do a really good job of like funneling it into something positive. Is that normally how it goes? Or is it like
Yeah. I mean, any show that we play, whether it's a headliner, whether we're playing first, I mean, I always just try to view it as that. Yeah. You know, whether there's like some stuff going on that, you know, maybe we like don't agree with or something like that.
Which there always is.
Which like, there always is. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. But you know, you find a way to get past it, and you find a way to just be like, all right, like at the end of the day, we're all here making music together, and like people are here to see us. Let's just give them the best damn show that like we can give them.
100%.
You know? Whether there's 5 people there, whether there's 50 or 500 or 5,000, that's it. You know what I mean? So that's how I view it.
That's the way to do it. And Shane, who I know is a good friend of you, Shane Emery, was just here, and he had a similar thing here of just like, who am I to have a bad time? Like, there are so many people here trying to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck am I to have a bad time in this environment?
And like, it goes back to that. I was in a band with Shane for forever. And like, even then, like, we still, like, both Shane and I, like, that's how we viewed it.
Yeah.
Like, in the grand scheme of things.
Which seems like the only way to make it survivable. Like, again, I think for me, I would spend it, the whole day would be like, fuck. I have to go do this thing.
Yep.
And that isn't a good way to go have fun on stage and also make the thing fun for everyone else. Like, I have to act. Yeah, that would show. Like, the only way to have a party on stage is to tell yourself all day, this is going to be a party, and let that thing happen.
Absolutely.
Has that always been your energy, or was this like a learned thing? Did you have to like make yourself this way, or is this from when you were 13 and first got on stage, or whenever that was?
Generally, yes. It's always been kind of my mentality.
Hell yeah.
I think the more time kind of went on, the more I've just been like, oh fuck, like, you know. For me, it's like, it also ties into like some gear stuff because I'm such a gearhead. And, you know, when I was playing guitar for a while, I would roll in with like a big rack and a cab and and like 2 guitars and like a massive pedal board. And, you know, that would be like my main thing would be like, oh my God, I have to set all this up in like 2 minutes and make sure it turns on correctly and all this, you know. And now like with Take the Flame, we have like the in-ear rack, and, you know, that's another thing that like I kind of worry about sometimes, where it's like, okay, we got to set this up quick. But I mean, that's just like,
yeah, which AA battery's dead that we didn't forget about? Who forgot what cable, what got left in the van, or what's fucked up?
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, like, that's just like, it's something so small that like I can worry about in the moment. And it's like over time, I've kind of gotten used to it and figured out like, okay, this is what I should do. This is like how to prep it, to put it on stage. Like, you know, it doesn't deter me from like having a good time.
Beautiful. Yeah. I think the other piece there that you kind of touched on is that like you are now fronting a band, which I think as long as I've known you, I feel like you were a drummer, or my assumption here is that you're like a drummer by trade, that is like number one thing that you probably learned here. And I could be wrong. Yeah. But then I think you were a guitarist for a while as kind of phase 2 of this. And now finally as a frontman here, that seems like just a lot of change to go through, where I think as I talk to everyone here that drummers kind of enjoy the anonymity of sitting in the back, and also have this thing of like, well, if I fuck up, it's the most obvious fuck up of everyone. The guitar player kind of gets to fuck around and have fun, unless you're the lead player who is stressed out playing the lead correctly. And then on the front man singing, it's like, okay, well, you get away from all this, but now the eyes are on you. Yeah. And also your voice is not an instrument you can change a string on.
Exactly.
So there's this whole new set of variables. How has that like transition been for you?
Oh man, it's been slow. Yeah. You know, but drastic at the same time is the best way I'll put it. So, you know, I did start playing drums first, like as a kid. That was like the first thing I really like picked up, and guitar like followed very closely. Yep. So I always knew how to play both. Singing was kind of a newer thing, right? I kind of started singing and screaming about 10 years ago, and I was just like, oh, I could do this now, you know? But I started joining bands around 10 years ago, and I was the drummer. So it was, I always had a blast. I always loved playing drums. I still love playing drums. But then like the more like time went on, then I got asked to like play guitar in a band, and I was like, this is different, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then I started playing lead, and then I started singing and playing guitar. And then I was like so involved in everything going on. I started learning more about the music industry. I started learning how things like work, you know, all while having like this huge dream of just literally just trying to make it. And, you know, I wrote some solo stuff back in 2019. Don't look that up because I'm embarrassed of it. And
the problem is here, you should have said you're embarrassed about the Take the Flame stuff, so people go check it out.
No, not the Take the Flame stuff.
The problem is that by saying you're embarrassed of it, it's the first thing now. It's like, fuck, now we gotta go find it.
Oh God!
I apologize in advance for now putting more fire to that gas that flame.
Oh my God! But so because like it was around the time I really got into recording, and I hit a point where I was just like, man, I really miss making music on my own. And then that's where I was just like, I'm just going to like write on my own and just see what happens. And it turned out to be like one of the best decisions of my life. Because now like Take the Flame exists, and it's like we're so involved in a bunch of stuff, and it's so much fun. Yep. You know? So I guess in short, the transition from like drums to like vocals, I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot and it was drastic, but it was, you know,
You're here.
I love it. I'm here. Yeah.
I think that's the piece of this that I often forget, and I think is often forgotten, is that like this, nobody's in their first band at this point in life for the most part. It's very rare that someone is. Like, it's been this long evolution process of like kind of refining. And I think my assumption is we go through as I go through videos and as probably people go through bands here, it's like the first thing we made 10 years ago is what we thought we wanted to make.
Right.
And then you made the first one and went, actually, it's a little bit closer to this that I want. And then 3 years later, you were in stage 2, and it's like, actually, turns out what I want to make is this. And over time, we slowly kind of refine and adjust these goalposts to where we are. And it feels like now Take the Flame is kind of like become a really happy summation of all the experience you've kind of gained from everything.
Yeah,
here.
Exactly.
One of the pieces that I have to go back to, I apologize here. What makes the solo stuff so embarrassing for you?
Oh,
Why is that such a soft spot for you?
So I did it about 6 years ago. And I always enjoyed just writing music on my own. And that's something I actually started when I was about 13. So my dad had we're going to sidetrack here. My dad had like a little garage band setup with like a Focusrite Sapphire interface, right? So I'm dating myself here. So that's how far it went back. And I would just kind of pick up one of his guitars, plug in, and just go with no expectations. And I had so much fun with that. And I never knew how to mix or anything. I never put vocals on anything because I didn't really know how to sing at the time. But I just went. And I'd be like, hey, Dad, just give me like a little rough mix here, you know? And then I'd hear like the stuff back that I recorded and I'd be like, I made this, you know? And that was really fulfilling. So when I graduated high school, I got a MacBook Pro as like a grad gift, which is like insane. Was so grateful. And a year later, I was like, man, I really miss like writing my own stuff. So I bought like the Scarlett 2i2 interface and some cheap, M Audio monitors. And I had GarageBand. So I'm like, let's see what happens. And I'm like, I know nothing. So I dove into like, how do I make this sound good? And like, how do I like make this like more on time, and like what can I do to like EQ and compress this and that, and it just sent me down a rabbit hole. And then the next thing I knew, I got Logic Pro, and then the next thing I knew, I just recorded more, and then I was up till like 5:30 in the morning trying to figure out how to compress a snare drum. You know what I mean? And so it kind of started there, whereas like I just enjoyed writing my own music, and then 2017 to like 2018 is when I wrote like my first EP, and then I wrote like my own full length in 2019, and then I put it out, and I was like so hyped about it. But the reason why I'm so embarrassed about it is because it's like the first like real thing I ever mixed. And like a lot of people like tell me like, dude, this doesn't sound bad. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I hate it. You know 100%. What I mean? And like, it's the first thing that I really took seriously, like as a songwriter. And I like listened to the lyrics that I wrote. I listened to like some of the licks that I played on the guitar, and I'm like, my God, dude.
I feel you.
So, that's why I'm just like, it's like one of those things. I mean, I feel like a lot of musicians would know where it's like, you listen to like the first thing you really like write and put out, and you're just like, oh my God, this is ass. Like, so that's how I feel about it.
I feel that 100% here. My parallel here is that like there's 100 reasons the show exists to me. One of them is because I think that my job is very isolating. And so what that means to me is that like once a week I'm with you guys and it's awesome to make a music video. That's great. The other 6 days of the week I am here in my own universe at my computer editing, which is great. That is my happy place. I love it. But it also begs the question of like, am I the only one going through these things, or is everyone else going through them? Like what is common experience here? My coworkers, I don't see, right? I have peers, but I'm never on set with my peers, right? Someone else is out filming the music video. That's why I'm not there. And it's very rare that we overlap here. And so one of the things you touched on there is like, as I was going through, I guess we're, later on we'll get to all this, but through your band history, I saw you were in Rise and Resist for a little bit. And Rise and Resist was one of my first music videos. It might have been my actual first #1. And I don't know because it gets the timeline gets a little messy and it's hard to define exactly what music video #1 is to me. Also, it was, how many 10 years ago-ish now. So whatever. That's all blurry in my brain. The reason I bring it up is because as I saw you right now, I was like, fuck, was Chris in the music video? Was he in that one?
I was not.
And you were not, right?
I was not.
I think it was just before you joined the band. But I went back and I watched it and I was like, ooh. not my best work of all time.
Yeah.
It was fine my first music video, and I think I charged them $40 for it or something. So it's
my God.
It all worked out, right? They got the $40 worth of value. I got my experience. Life was good. And that's what I did for years, was make music videos for $50, $100 or something, where to me it's like, as long as I delivered a thing, everyone got their money's worth, and it was fine, right? So in the same breath that I am now, it's like I can do better than that. I also have 10 years of experience, and life's changed a lot since then. But I think that is a universal thing that we all kind of look back and go, fuck, we kind of sucked.
I mean, but the thing is, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't and I teach, right? Yep. I teach music lessons. So I always tell my students, I'm like, bro, you can't just roll out of bed and expect to play the Sweet Child of Mine guitar solo like first rip.
Yep.
It doesn't happen.
Yep.
You know, you can't roll out of bed and like rip a Travis Barker drum solo, right? You gotta practice, you gotta gain the muscle memory, and you gotta work at it. Yep. And it sucks, you know, but you gotta start somewhere.
Yes. And I think with that in mind, I've made it a firm goal of mine to never delete old stuff. Where I have like a pet peeve of when bands like clear out everything from their archives, and like deleting your Instagram to me is like, I can kind of come to terms with that. I think I disagree with it, but I understand where you're coming from here. But when people start deleting old EPs and like old catalog stuff to make that their fourth album is now their first album, to me is like, no, because you're doing a disservice to everyone else who's 13 out there. And trying to get into this. And it's like, it's so important to go find the local EP and be like, fuck, that thing is rough. And then you get to watch them, and it's like, oh yeah, this worked out here.
That's something that's like kept me from deleting my old stuff. You know, because I thought about it. I really did. But then I'm just like, you know, when I get like because I get in my head about everything, you know, I can at least like go back and just be like, look how much you sucked back then, you know, and like, look where you're at now. Like, that's just kind of like how I see it.
100%. And it's the only way we can also measure growth to me is the other part. Is like, if I delete all that, then I go, okay, is this square one that I'm at now? And it's like, no. It's very important to have a real square one that I can look back and be like, no, thankfully that is in the past and not that recent. I also think the other piece that I found interesting that you kind of touched on is that like this kind of started with making covers in your basement too. Which to me is exactly where my journey started. And it's to me funny that like, I got into it and pretty quickly said, I don't really like learning the songs. I don't like mixing them. I don't like doing any of the audio stuff. I really like filming the part. I really like that I get to do that. Can I just like skip the 6 months of painful learning and then just get to the video part? And then can I outsource the other part of it? And it's kind of funny that we started in the exact same place and then went to completely opposite directions.
I didn't know you did covers, man. That's cool.
That's my also embarrassing thing that exists on the internet, and I'm sure they are findable. I don't know exactly. I feel like the YouTube channel is not the one that I still use. So I'm sure they're out there somewhere because that's the nature of the internet. But yeah, it started in my basement with a MacBook Pro. And filming, I had just like a shitty like USB microphone that I would put in front of like a little guitar cab. A combo amp. And I would just play and film it with the front camera on my MacBook Pro. And that was square one here, was figuring out how to teach myself how to play guitar and playing. I think there's a couple of them floating around. And again, pretty quickly to me it was like, I don't like learning the songs. It's stressful for me. I don't get it. I'm not good at it. It just doesn't feel right. But this making the video part to me is really cool. How can I do more of this? And then, of course, I get a camera to do that. And then I'm like, well, if I have a camera, I'm going to go try photos and try concerts. And that's where this whole thing just kind of spirals from. And
you're doing great.
Getting into photos and keeps on coming. But it was kind of funny to me how we had the exact same start at 13 and just completely diverged where, my brain immediately was like, video. And you were like, no. Audio. Let's do the audio.
I was always like so into video too.
Interesting.
Because like in school, I was I was kind of in some lower level classes, so they did a lot of college prep, and they always asked me, "What did you want to do for your life?" And I'm like, "I want to be in a band." And they're like, "Well, you can't do that." So I was in a bunch of like media and communications classes in high school, which I loved. So I did like graphic design, I did video, I did audio, I did 3D printing, and I had a blast with it. And something that really stuck out to me was video. And I did some I did some like some drum covers like early high school where my buddy Mark would have my iPod Touch. And I would just like, I had 2 iPods. I had an iPod Touch and an iPod Nano. So I would use my Nano with my freaking Apple earbuds and just freaking go to town with like iPod Touch 2011 audio. It sounded phenomenal, right?
Of course,
So that
Future audio engineers in America are all studying that
so
to this
that
day.
like I like totally just like didn't really care about audio production at that point, but I loved making videos, and I got a kick out of like editing them. And then in high school, I did them in my dad's basement.
Yep.
And then he would set up. This is before like either myself or my dad had any sort of recording setup, but he had like a 57 and like some other mic, or no, it was like a 58 and like some like a Rode condenser mic, and he would set them up so awkwardly, and I'd be like, I don't know what this does, but I trust your judgment because you know this and I don't.
Yeah.
And I would take his camera and I would like do one take with the camera like head on, and then one like next to the hi-hat, and then under the crash cymbal, and then sometimes like behind the China if it was like a metalcore song.
Yeah.
So, and then he would like mix down the audio, which like for 2 mics, I think we got some like decent results back then. And I would edit them, and like they came out really good. At least like I thought they did for iMovie quality.
Sure.
And then that escalated into like, me taking a break for a little bit, joining a band, graduating high school, and then doing the covers again in my house after I got like a setup. And those drum mixes were trash, but I committed to like 1 video a week, and it like I had fun with it. And even if I had a bad day or I had to work later, I was like, I'm still gonna get this done. And it worked out. And actually, funny enough, I want to bring this up. There's one song that I did. It was like some pop song.
Okay.
And I would look on the Spotify like global like top 100 charts, and I clicked on it. I listened to it. I was like, this is good. I can like find a groove to this. So I record it. The camera was like out of focus. It was off centered. My hair was like just like up here. I would have like these Beats headphones on. I would slick my hair back, but it would just like be like this like Dragon Ball Z looking thing behind me. And then I remember I uploaded it, and it got oh my God, why can't I think of the word? It got flagged. So it wouldn't upload, and then I disputed it twice, and it just like went through, and it's my most viewed drum cover. And it's my shittiest drum cover, But I always loved the video part, but then like as like I kept doing the drum covers, I was like, oh man, like I love experimenting with like mixing drums and like seeing how they sound and like learning what to do. And like sometimes I kind of half-assed it because I was like on a routine and I want to get it done. But it was nonetheless, I had a blast with it. And then that segued into like writing my own stuff and recording drums for that. And like,
It's funny. You were one step away from becoming I Prevail in that moment of just putting out one shitty pop cover, and then all of a sudden it takes off.
Right.
It becomes your entire identity.
Yep.
Sometimes I feel so bad for those guys of like, they are still having to play that song everywhere they go. And it's like, I get it. I still like that cover. But boy, would I be tired if I had spent my entire life creating my own art, and the only thing that people want to hear is the shitty cover of Taylor Swift song that I wrote when I was 16 or whatever. Yeah. And boy, does that seem. I guess it's the same. I guess it's no different than anyone else who has to play the song they wrote when they were 16, which is the kind of the common challenge to any band that finds success is you get stuck in your high school album.
Yeah.
But somehow that one stings worse than all the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, but like people loved it, and I'm just like, you know what, like. If you love it, cool, man. Enjoy it. And I look every now and then, and like the view count kind of goes up still. And I put it up in like, I don't know, fall 2017 or something.
People just watching on 480p or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, this is cool.
That's funny.
All right.
Is there any desire to get back to doing drum covers or anything? Like
now, no. I mean, with how busy I am, it's just like it's too much time. Too much time. And then I don't know. I thought about it at one point, just for like TikTok and like the Instagram Reels, but it's just for the drums, it's a little too much right now, and especially like with the space in my house, it's like. I don't think
drums suck for having to play them. The only instrument that no one can play, or that no one has the space to play. Very few people have the space to play, which is always a bizarre little caveat to it all here.
The space and the volume.
Yep.
So,
Hell yes. The other piece I want to touch on here is we kind of went through your journey here from finding the instruments with your dad to playing. Is you have like a formal degree in music education or formal certificate in music education or music production here?
Myself or my dad?
You did.
Oh yeah. So I don't have like an actual degree. I have a music production certification.
Correct.
So how that came about was school was really not my thing.
Okay. Define
so
how not your thing are we talking here?
so I graduated high school, and then my plan was, because I had it so engraved that like you got to get a real job from all these teachers.
Oh yeah.
And my dad even pushed school on me too quite a bit.
This is all familiar. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Like I started at Tunxus Community College, and I did like a graphic design class and like algebra 1, I think. That's how bad I am at math. I suck at math. And then like English, which I actually fairly enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I did that first semester, and I was a very mediocre student. And then over that winter break, so this is like 2015 going into 2016, I went downstairs to just like play drums at my dad's house. And I come upstairs and like it still like shocks me. Like my dad's like, "You should join a band." I'm like, "Are you high? Are you serious? Like what?" It's like, "You should join a band." And I mean it's not like super uncommon because my dad's like a musician, but like after he pushed like school on me so hard and like just getting into college, for him to say like, "You should join a band," I'm like, "Are you insane?" So I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm like good enough or this or that. And then he goes on freaking Craigslist and like finds he's like, "Look, pop punk band with like influences of like Neck Deep and Stories So Far." And I'm like, I like those bands. I could play that stuff.
Interrupting for 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah.
The amount of time someone has sat in your chair and said that I found a band on Craigslist to me is mind blowing.
Like, yeah, dude.
Every time I hear it, I'm like, that can't be real.
Dude, it's so real. I still can't believe it. So
I've heard it so many times. If you had told me on episode 1 that I was gonna hear, like, you're the 15th person. Like, it's so many people have said they found a band on Craigslist to me, which is unbelievable. Like, I don't know how I thought bands start.
Guess.
I don't know how I would go about finding a band. Like, I think I can appreciate the challenge there of trying to find like-minded people and what forum. And I guess now maybe Facebook, like the local Connecticut musicians groups are where this has replaced Craigslist. But like Craigslist to me has only been used for like buying like wood, like cords of wood, like firewood,
or drugs,
or nefarious stuff. Like it is like mundane stuff. The idea of like finding actual like, I've always heard like a misconnections thing, but to me it's like that's not quite what we're talking about here in bands. And the amount of people who are like, "No, this genuinely worked for me," is unbelievable to me. So I'm very happy.
It's still still thinking about it. Like, I found a band on Craigslist, and people are like, "What the fuck? Are you serious?" It's so funny. So,
but sorry. So anyway, you were in the basement. You come upstairs. Dad says you should join a band. Goes on Craigslist. So says Neck Deep, pop punk.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I found the band on Facebook, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah.
Why not? So I'm just like, "Hey, I'm Chris and I play drums. Check out my YouTube channel. Would love to be in your band." And they're like, "Hey man, like learn our EP and come out like next week or whatever." So I'm like, whoa, I got an opportunity, like just like blown, like mind blown and everything.
Oh yeah.
So like for a week straight, that's all I did was just play. And I was on like winter break. So like I had the time. So all I did was just play this damn EP. And I had a lot of fun with it. I liked the songs and, it was so fun to play. And then I went to the practice space, which was this tiny little music shop in North Haven. I think it's still there. It's called Music Court.
Okay.
And it was like after hours. It was like 8 p.m. and there was like this tiny little stage there, and that's where they practiced. I'm like, this is cool. So this is so stupid. I remember like pulling into the parking lot and being like, like if I don't get this, I think I'll just like give up. Which like thinking about it now is just so stupid. Mm-hmm. So
it's kind of a natural though, like get out of jail free card. Like you're giving yourself an out if this doesn't go well.
Yeah,
like it's there's a coping mechanism in there that I think is very common and like normal. But it is also bizarre to be like at that point in your life, your fate rode on 3 strangers that you've never met playing an EP that you weren't a part of, kind of thing.
So I walk in, everybody was super nice. I played the songs, and we all had a good time.
Was this your first time playing with people?
No, it wasn't. I played with people in high school, and that was fun.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun. And I did some like music camp, band camp, if you will, stuff, which was also fun, but I'll touch up on that in a little bit as well.
Yeah,
so, I played the stuff and I left. I'm just like, I really hope I got this. This will be really cool. I can like actually play shows.
Yep.
And I get a text and they're like, dude, like we loved having you and we want you to be a part of this. And that was my first time being in a band with Shane Emery.
Was this the Worthwhile Fight?
This was the Worthwhile Fight.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a list of about 15 bands here.
Yeah, dude, it's been a hell of a journey.
just to cover the crowds here. I have the Worthwhile Fight, the Epitome, Say What You Will, Rise and Resist, solo stuff, As Within So Without, The Future I Dream of, Death Wish, and now Take the Flame here. So I'm sure I'm missing about 7 more bands in there because
I
that
think
seems
that's
like
all of them.
The nature of this.
I think so, yeah.
But beautiful. So the Worthwhile Fight then. So you get into that, and you're like, you're in college at this point. You said
I was in college.
19-ish?
I was 18, and like as like I like progressed with Worthwhile Fight, school was just like nah. Like I did not care.
Yep.
And like that spring semester was
like you didn't care your entire life, and now you just do the not caring to the overdrive.
No, I like really didn't care after that. So no, that spring semester was like when just life happened.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was in my first car accident. I was fine, but it like that happened, and it was like a week before our first show, which was at Toad's Place, like dream venue.
Yeah.
So like that happened, and then like understanding that like college, like, they don't care. Like, it's like, if you miss something, like, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, you just, you keep going or you drop the class. And I was like stubborn. So I'm like, I'm going to keep going. Flunked the damn class. So that was really stressful. I don't think I like went to school for like a few weeks because I was just like, oh my God, I missed one class. I can't face the teacher, super immature.
Sure.
But like, mentally, like what I fell back on was just like playing with these guys and playing like my first few shows, and like living that dream.
Yep.
And like we were booking a tour at the time, and I was like, oh my God, like I could go on tour. Like I'd never been on tour. I never really played. Like I played shows, but it was like high school talent shows, and like I played the Space when it was still the Space in front of our parents in high school. That was like my only like real show at the time. Okay. So like being in a band and like doing the thing, like then like that's like what I fell back on, and that's like really what got me to pull through. And I finished that. We did that like little summer tour that was really cool, and then the fall came around. Our singer like went to Europe, and he's like, I don't know when I'll be back, and we're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
All of a sudden the bands got very real, where you had like the honeymoon phase of the band, and all of a sudden you encountered all the parts of the band that are not the glorious days. We get to practice and hang out. It's so much fun. And then we get to play the shows, and it's so much fun. And all of a sudden it's like very real, like, fuck. This thing is not always,
But then like from that, we formed Say What You Will. Beautiful. So like myself, Shane, Christine, we formed Say What You Will, and we got Ethan, we had a guitar player at the time, and then like we changed members. I left for a bit, and then this, and like so much has happened with Say What You Will, but we got Say What You Will out of that project, which was really cool. And then I joined the Epitome at the same time, and then I did my fall semester of college that year. I did like a design principles class, passed it.
There we go.
And then I'm like, I'm gonna like take a leave of absence. And I just kept going with the bands. And then I think 2018 rolled around. This is after like I was doing the drum covers and like recording and like really trying to get into like mixing and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm going to go back to school for business, major in that, and then like start my own production company. I started my winter semester doing like intro to like computers or something, which was all like coding. And I'm like, I hate this. Flunked it. And then I started up the spring semester, which was like English 101, which I loved, ironically. What else? I did like a history class, which I dropped because the instructor stood at the front of the class and just talked
Yeah.
for an hour and a half. Didn't write anything on the board. Didn't like ask any questions. Didn't call on anybody. Just stood there and just talked. And I'm just like, this sucks.
Yep.
So I dropped that. So I was in English one day. Oh, and I took a marketing class, which
it's also like surprisingly fresh still. Like
Yeah.
it's not recent, but it's still like you can tell it's
Yeah.
very like informative and like impactful in your life. Because as you're telling this is still like this feels like yesterday. And I know, we're about the same age. This is not yesterday, unless I'm wildly off here.
2018.
Yeah, and so it's wild that like how my college journey was similar. Of like I didn't really want to go, and then I went, and then I discovered photo halfway through, and then I'm editing photos the entire time in class. And so there's like a similar thing, but like I don't think I remember a single professor's name. Like it's all
I don't remember any professor's
gone in the
names,
wash.
but like
this for you is a very visceral, still like a very visceral, like emotionally charged thing of like
I just because like I just remember like how hyped like being in a band made me, and like how shitty being in school felt. You know what I mean? Like so like I always just think about that. And then one day I rolled into English class and I had a friend sitting next to me, really cool dude. And he kind of liked making some music like on the side, and that's kind of how we like connected.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, dude, look at this. I'm like, what the hell? And it was like this, it was called the Recording Connection.
Okay.
So it was a whole like school program thing where like it's like based in LA, but they put you like with an engineer like in your area. And he was like explaining it. I'm like mind blown. I was like, oh my God, I have to do this. And I remember like immediately going home to my mother and I was just like, I am dropping out of school to do this, like, and she was on board,
Beautiful.
And that's kind of, when that took over, I got my certification. I learned, a lot of stuff like we did there. I did know at the time because I did like so many deep dives
all the 5
on
a.m. YouTubes.
But there was a lot of stuff that I learned as well, and like how to communicate with clients and, how to set certain things up and how to use like outboard gear and all this like geeky, nerdy crap.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. I did that for a year. I got my certification, and then the business thing, I like really. There were times where I did consider it, but I'm just like, I'm too busy.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that you described like math and coding as like poison to you. It's just like
man, it's insane.
Least. But then you describe like outboard gear and using compressors. It's like this is, I guess it's maybe more science than math and coding, but it is still like numerical and strategic. And like, it's an interesting overlap to me. Really, like there's an overlap to me between like musicians who are like into theory and who are not into theory. There's like, I like music theory and they're nerds about it. And then there's also like, fuck keys, fuck tempos. I just want to play what sounds cool, and that becomes the direction.
That's kind of how I am too.
Which is interesting though. But then you're describing production to me. Production is more of the theory side of things here. So there's like an interesting hybrid. And I guess I don't know music production that well, so I also could be kind of off here. Maybe there is more room for creativity. But like for me with video editing, I think there's a similar thing. Like there are some people it's like all vibes, and to me it's like no, I want to know numbers. I want to know rules. Like I want to know. Yeah, that's how my brain works. It's how I process all these things. Yeah. And so it's interesting to hear you describe it like, math is poison, but all of a sudden learning milliseconds of an attack on a compressor is like beautiful. Give me, inject it all into my veins. I want to know all about how this works.
Because like the thing is like I can't just be like, okay, use like exactly like 49 milliseconds of attack on this snare drum and 0.1 milliseconds release. I don't do that. I can't, like I just kind of like twist knobs and I'm just like, this sounds cool.
Yeah.
Here we go. So I mean, the numerical stuff kind of comes after. It's I always ask my dad, I'm like, what the hell is the ratio of a compressor? I can kind of like understand what it does, but I never really like fully understood the definition of that. So I just kind of like crank it and then I'm like, this sounds cool, you know? So
I wish I could educate you on it, but I don't understand
that's
it at
okay.
all.
Yeah.
That's not my strength here.
I'm going to go home and educate myself on the compression ratios later.
Totally cool. I have the same thing with cameras of like, it pisses me off that this thing sees me and remembers what it sees. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you see me and remember what you see?
Insane.
And it's like, I feel like I should understand it more, right? I should be able to talk more about it. And I have some basic sense. Of course, I'm dumbing it down because that's the funnier and sillier thing to do here. But really, truly, it's magic. I really don't understand how it works. And it is a similar thing. You're like, as long as it works and it makes me happy, who gives a fuck how the mechanism
good,
is?
Looks good,
but
exactly.
I feel like I should know more, and it sounds like a similar thing to the compressor here. Of like, it's a vibe signal. As long as it works, as long as you know what each knob does sonically, who gives a fuck if you know the mechanism for it?
Exactly, yeah.
But there is, a funny thing of it's crazy to use something every single day and be so foreign to how it works.
Exactly, yeah, basically. So...
Beautiful. And then are you still like actively drumming and playing guitar here? Or something that was kind of the foundation.
Yeah.
Now it's mixing and vocals here, but are the other roots
I'm still actively like, I'm playing both. And like I said, I teach both.
Yep.
So I am playing it at least like 3 times a week now. So I mean, to the extent that I was playing drums, probably not, because I don't want to make my students deaf.
Sure.
But guitar, I mean, so like I do like all like the majority of the guitar work on the Take the Flame stuff. So, and especially like the first batch of work was just me. So, but I'm even like aside from that, I just love to like plug in and just, put on some of my favorite songs and just go to town, So
I am going to ask you in a second here how teaching has influenced your playing here. But while we're on the topic of Take the Flame stuff, I have to hold your feet to the fire for one quick second here.
I noticed
that they're accidental, but I'll take the credit for it. I noticed there are 4 singles out right now that all have similar artwork, which to me goes, probably some kind of unifying body of art here coming in anytime soon. Is there anything we can say about anything coming out in the future, or is it for the moment 4 singles and we'll see if anything comes out in the future?
I got a lot planned. So we got oh man, I don't know if I should be saying much of this, but
please, yes. I want to be very clear that don't say anything. Like I don't care. I mean, I care because I want to hear it. I'm curious about it, but to me, it's like, I don't need the fucking hot scoop here. And if it's happening in the future, but I would be a bad interviewer if I did not ask. Where it's like, I'm picking up what's going on here. If I know anything about music, usually this takes us in one direction here. But if that's further down the road and we want to talk about that, it's A-okay as well.
I mean, the plan was to just like put some stuff out and then like put more stuff out.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I look forward to hearing the more stuff when we get there here.
Thank you.
I am curious though about how teaching affects the playing here, where it is kind of an interesting thing where we touched on learning earlier of like, you have to suck. And I think the more that you are around people who do suck with respect to your students, they are new at learning. And I'm sure that some of them are more gifted than others and whatever. We're all at a different stage of learning here. But like, I find that when I teach someone about camera stuff, that it like enriches me and also makes me feel very like grateful of how far I've come, because I see them at step 1 or step 4 and go, boy, I remember this like it was yesterday. And it, like, invigorates me then to continue on what I'm keeping on here. Has it been a similar thing for teaching for you? How has teaching kind of affected you as a musician here?
Like, so let me start by saying I am not a theory guy.
Sure.
Like I have like a general understanding of like.
You're a drop C guy.
But I know like the basics. So like I know like scales and stuff like that, and that is like what I teach. But how it affected me is just like it kind of taught me like some new things. Like sometimes I'll just kind of like be showing somebody a scale and I'll be like, what the hell did I just do? This is cool. So anyway, this new thing that I just taught myself off the dome, it could be that, or it could be like a timing thing with drums, but it like influences and also inspires me, because it's like I see my students just grow. You know what I mean? And like they're there because they want to learn this instrument and they want to learn how to do this and get better in this and that. And just like seeing like one student like learn how to play like a basic scale on the drum pad, to then seeing him play a full Green Day song straight through with like no mistakes, I'm just like, wow, that's so cool. And it also, it like every single day I teach, it always takes me back to that little 9-year-old kid who would go into his dad's basement, crank American Idiot all the way up and just freaking go. You know what I mean? And like I relate to that. I was those kids, just like sitting there like trying to learn and like be the best that they can, and like and it's so cool to like work with them, and it's, I don't know, I have a lot of fun with it.
It's also cool you have the full circle moment here of like being your dad telling them to join a band. Oh, it sounds like there was like a huge gift that he imparted on you, where he was like, no, I believe in you and I believe this is possible. And it sounded like, or it seems to me like for a lot of people who are coming in to learn, it's like they also need that push here. A lot of them are like, I think this thing is cool, but I can't play a Green Day song yet. I'm still trying to figure out what a paradiddle is. This seems
exactly
impossible.
Yeah.
And I think someone like you who can give them that positive nudge, like, no, it is possible and you will make it possible.
Yeah,
is a really beautiful cycle to like keep fulfilling out here for yourself.
Oh yeah, and I always teach, especially with my drum students, I always teach about muscle memory.
Yeah.
Right, because and I mean it goes with guitar too, but I feel like more with drums because it's like more hands on and like you're just hitting stuff.
Yeah.
And I always give like the same like 3-step process. So it's like number 1, you learn it, then you practice it, and then the more you practice it, it becomes muscle memory.
Yep.
And that is like something I've just been like trying to engrave in everybody's head. And it's like, I guess it's working. I mean, it seems like it's working. And I think the more like my students resonate with that, the more they're like, all right, let's go, or like, it's, yeah.
It's nice to have a path laid out. Right?
Yeah.
The other part of this is you pick up this thing and go, there's no way I can get good at this. It is impossible for me.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I got this e-kit, right? Is because I am convinced that I cannot play drums. I'm convinced that it is not physically possible. And I understand that I sit here every week and talk about people learning stuff. I go, okay, I have to prove myself wrong here. And I have over the last year or two. It's like I'm not winning any awards, but I'll play an AC/DC song or two. Like I've got like the very basic.
There you go.
And it is that thing of like, you just have to believe that this thing is possible. And there is the, growing up, I was similar to you of like, just school was not my thing. Like I think I was different where I think I did well in school, but I hated every single second of it equally. And one thing my dad would always say, or I would always come home, both my parents are academics. And so they were always very pro school, very pro doing this. My whole family is. And I always was like, no, this is fucking dumb. I'm out. This is stupid.
Yeah.
And I remember I would just come home and be like, we learned about the Pythagorean thing. Why the fuck do I need a Pythagorean thing?
Dude,
and that wasn't the words I'd use probably. But,
I never, I learned about the Pythagorean theorem too, and I'm like, I have not used it since.
It was all, I unfortunately used that one frequently, but that's a different story.
Okay.
But
Never mind.
It's one of the few, whatever. I'll finish the story. I think circle back to that.
Okay.
But I'd always come home and be like, we learned about this today. This is dumb. Why do I need to know this? And my dad would always say that it doesn't matter what you were learning how to learn. And that really annoyed me here. Because it's like, no, that's not, they are teaching me geometry. You are oversimplifying this thing and trying to find it out. And now that I'm here, it's like, no, he was right. And it is a similar thing here of learning drums here. Of like, by teaching them the pathway from like learning to practice to muscle memory is like, that is every single thing. And whether they can become a mechanic, right? If this is a 10-year-old you're teaching and they go to automotive school, I'm sure an oil change is the same thing. I can't do it. I don't know the steps of it, but I'm sure step 1 is someone goes, pour it here, dump it out here, close this, open this. Step 2 is practice, and step 3 is doing it with your eyes closed because your daughter's car just is out of oil or whatever.
Exactly.
And that is the entirety of what is happening here. And I come back to that, and I have to like eat my words of like, Dad, you were right. I didn't learn geometry, but the learning Pythagorean theorem is the same as it. The reason I use it now is because there's in Premiere Pro or any kind of editing software, as things move, it's on a coordinate grid. So there's times where a thing is moving here, and then where it gets me is like if the videos are all different, the same sizes, then it's simple to coordinate. Sometimes if things are different sizes, then the scale they're moving is different or whatever. And so then I end up going, okay, well the coordinates were this and this, and now they're this and this. And I am using the formula for slope to figure out how fast this thing moves so I can make something else move at the exact same speed.
That makes a lot of sense.
Which makes me so mad because I remember all the times that I told my math teacher that I thought my math teacher was dumb and annoying and making me learn something stupid. And now I just sit here as an adult and be like, fuck, I was right 99% of the time, but there's one time here that I was very wrong about it. But yeah, and that idea of like, it's not about learning, it's about learning how to learn. It's always stuck with me of like, that's kind of it.
Makes a lot of sense.
And I think as I look back, like, with my camera stuff, it's like, it's given me the confidence that like, now everything is doable. Like, I think soccer is my first love and the first thing that I learned, but I was so young when I learned it that I didn't have any conscious awareness of what I was doing. It was just from the time I could walk, I had a ball at my feet, and all of a sudden I was 18 and doing this thing at a much higher level than I did as a 3-year-old because that's life. But I never had any conscious effort involved in it. It was just because I did it every day, I got better and stayed better. With the camera, it was like I started at 18 and I knew zero. I don't identify as artistic at all. I can't paint. I can't draw. Like it, I still identify more as like a scientist than an artist in a lot of this stuff.
That's crazy to hear, man.
And I understand that the product I make is art, but the way that my brain approaches it is all not
logistical.
And
I could relate to that a little bit myself.
But yeah, by learning how to learn camera stuff, it's like that is the only place that I've started from absolute zero and had to go step brick by brick at 5 a.m. YouTube sessions, like you mentioned, of what is exposure? Right. How does this thing work? What is it? What is contrast? What does this thing mean? How much contrast should I have? What happens when you have too much? What's too little? And as you just go down this path, and now it's like, okay, I've taught myself this. I can teach myself anything I want. And that's like the most beautiful takeaway of this, that it sounds like you've had similarly with drums, and as you pass on to your students, is like, by learning one thing, we have learned how to learn anything.
Right.
It's like, God damn it, Dad, you were right. I hate that.
Yeah. That's what I like to pass on to my students as well. You know, I always relate it. I'm like, you know, muscle memory is just like, it's not something you really think about. You just do it, right? And I'm always just like, so like when you like walk to that door and come back, did you have to think about how to walk?
Yeah.
No, that's muscle memory. There you go. It's the same thing with a paradiddle.
Yep.
It's the same thing with like learning how to play a sport, you know, whatever you do in life, you know. I always try to like bring that like to the table. You know?
Yeah, I think it's wise. I don't think many young people can appreciate it. Now as an adult, it's like, I really wish I internalized that better. That, going home and studying is like, studying sucked. It was stupid. But I was learning how to work hard for these late nights where I'm now, as I'm sitting in this chair in the busiest month of my entire life, which is a great thing to have.
Crazy, yeah.
But it has meant that these days have just been pretty brutally long in ways that I don't always love, but that is what it takes to get things done sometimes. And that's what studying for 1 hour in high school was the precursor to. And that studying sucked. Yeah. And I'm so mad that I did it. But it did benefit me, and that sucks to admit also.
Yeah.
that the thing paid off here.
No, it's awesome, man.
Beautiful. I feel like we covered a ton of ground here. We got all the bands going on here. I have a couple of things I'd like to wrap up on here. One is the moment you felt successful. And so I'm always curious about this as a big question here, and I understand it's a big question, so I will ramble for a second as you think about it here. But I'm always curious because there's so many ups and downs of all these things, and like, for me personally, the downs often stick in my brain more. And I think that's a very normal human interaction.
Right.
Like, I remember more the things that didn't go well than the things that did go well. And once in a while, I have to force myself to sit here and go like, things haven't been bad. If things were 100% bad all the time, then I would not be doing this, right? Like, I am here because of the highs that I felt along the way, and just because of the way the brain works, or perhaps because of the way my brain works specifically. I focus on the lows and I go, how do I make sure that never happens again?
Yeah.
Which gets me closer to a high. But then even when I get to the high, I'm aware that it's similar to the first the solo EPs that are my first covers of like, I'm aware that this is a high right now, and in 5 years I may look back and go, fuck. But the lows are lows no matter what. Those things never stop being lows here. So I think it's important to try and focus on the highs here and find a moment that we felt successful, a moment that things felt like they worked for us here. What's the moment that felt successful for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think like, okay, so there's like moments where I felt like, oh my God, I'm like actually doing this. And then there was moments where I'm like, holy shit, this is like actually working out. So I'll touch on both.
Please.
So I think the moment where I really, really felt like things were like, you know, like this is like happening was probably when I was in Rise and Resist. Only because like, and I love the like, miss a lot of the good times we had and everything, nothing against any of them. But we played the Webster like exclusively and we played for everybody. Yeah. You know, and I remember the first show I played with them was Slaughter to Prevail in the Webster Underground.
That's such a funny thing in hindsight. Yeah.
Like that's insane to think about.
I remember seeing Beartooth in that room and it's
and like, you know, I think about that and it's like they played Warped Main Stage this year, you know, in front of thousands of people. And I'm like, I played with them in this tiny ass room, you know? And like, and then I was a huge Secrets fan. Sure. And we got announced to play Secrets, which was like my third or fourth show. And I'm like, oh my God, we're playing with, like, love Secrets, you know? And then we got...
they'd have a comeback coming on right now, too.
I think so, too. I saw they released something. I didn't check it out yet. But and then I think it was like the show after we played with Born of Osiris. And not only did we just like play with them, but we got like, that was my first and only Webster main stage gig. Okay. And like, I remember like that day, like we rolled up, like had no, like I knew it was a main stage show, but I was like, I don't know if like you know, what, like if we're gonna play the underground or main stage, I was banking on the underground because I was so used to it.
Sure.
And then I think it was Justin Leach that came out and was just like, yeah, set up. I'm like, okay. Like, just like totally in awe. I'm like, okay. And I like walked into the room, like trying to be like all like cool and
Pretend
not like
you know what's happening.
You know, yeah, like not be like a total fanboy here and just like, and like not only it was Born of Osiris, but it was like Currents, Gideon, and Fit for a King. So like bands that I liked, and I'm like, oh my God. And I remember like the moment I started that backing track, I was the only one on stage, and I looked up, and like even though we're the first band there were like 500 people out there. I was like, and I just like picked up my head and I did like one of these, you know, and everybody was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, this is it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I barely remember playing that set, you know, just because it was so surreal, you know, but it was awesome. And I remember like at that point, like just playing like with all those types of bands, I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And then, you know, moving on, like kind of going back to like some of the smaller venues, you know, after like playing with like huge bands and then like just playing like these smaller shows, it has an effect on you, you know, because like you think you're hot shit and then like you're playing to like 10 people and then I'm like, oh my God. And then the pandemic hit and then, you know, then I was just like, I'm like, how do I like, how can I make it so that like, instead of like playing for 200-300 people that are there to see like another band, how do I make that so they come to see my band? And then that's when that rabbit hole like fell into play. And then I was in a bunch of bands and like we started drawing more and I was like, this is really cool. Okay. Like getting that feeling back and everything. And then like, you know, kind of left a bunch of bands just because like we didn't all agree on certain things and that's okay. Nothing against anybody.
That is the reality of most creative projects is like it's impossible or almost impossible to find 5 people who all align, not just creatively, but also in points of life of like, there's 100 different things we can choose to do in our lives. If someone gets married, all of a sudden that changes the entire dynamic of what's going on here because they have a big cost sink to go pour money into and a big time commitment to go tend to, which is beautiful and great for them. But for the nature of this fragile creative community, not so great. I mean, that is the nature of life.
My mom always told me, she's like, you gotta like find a band like you're finding a marriage, and I'm like, that's so true. It's like insane. Yeah. So that's kind of
5-way polygamous marriage.
You know, it came to a point where I was like, you know, that's where I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna start writing on my own again and just see what happens. And I managed to get like amazing people to be in, you know, a part of this, and like I feel like I have that. And like once we all got together and once, you know, I started rolling out the Take the Flame songs and just like really like being like so in depth with like how the songs are doing, you know, how the videos are coming along and just seeing the response of all that, that is like truly where I was just like, holy shit, I feel successful.
That's it.
You know? So that, you know,
beautiful. Yeah.
That's that.
It's a beautiful full circle moment then from filming the covers in that same basement to then filming the Eye of the Storm music video again in the same basement and kind of going from the infancy of Chris to now the more matured actualized version of Chris.
Exactly.
So I'm grateful I could be a part of that and
absolutely
to make that happen here.
Grateful to have you.
Of course, yeah.
We all had a blast that day, man. Despite David just completely destroying your fog machine.
Yes, and the your dad came in clutch as the luthier. Am I saying that term correctly? The guitar tech
I guess
here
so.
For Holden's guitar that blew up when we started filming here.
That was quite the day, man. It was like David ate shit, then his legs gave out. And then like I guess Holden's guitar peg came out or something like that. And then I think David had an issue too with his guitar. So I mean, but yeah, my dad did come in clutch.
My entire life. I've planned so many sets, and I hate sitting in this chair saying that things never go to plan because to me it's like I'm not really sending a good memo to someone who's ever been on set with me if I say that things never go to plan.
But it's true,
the reality of
you know,
it.
like nothing goes to plan. Like I had like.
That's why I plan so thoroughly. Is so that when things go off track, it's like, okay, we have time to deal with that. Because if there wasn't a plan in place, then now we don't have time to deal with this because we have bigger fish to fry here.
You know, and like the amount of like plans that I set up and like past bands and like, you know, even with Take the Flame, it's like even like as thorough and as detailed as it got, you know, things would just go off even a little bit and they would like they would just have such a horrible effect on me mentally, and I'd be like, oh my God, this sucks. Like, this isn't going to plan. Like, what do I do? Blah, blah, blah. You know? So like what I do is I like to plan generally.
Yep.
And almost plan for things to go off, for things to kind of derail almost.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not derail, but like things to not go according to plan. You know, like for example, like Take the Flame, I wanted to drop like, you know, X amount of singles before the summer, and then like drop, you know, something else in the fall, and that didn't work, right? But at the end of the day, things still worked out. Like we're still growing, and like I'm really happy that they're working out as they are currently.
Things have a way of falling into place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So like that's just, you know, that's something how I kind of understand things. I did not say that right.
Hey, okay. 2 last questions for you here.
Yeah.
One, what's something that you're currently learning? So in all this process, we've talked about all the things that you have learned to get this far. Now that you're the vocalist of the frontman of the band, now that you have taken on some of the production roles here, like, is there still a part of production that you are dying to expand into as a frontman? Is there something that you're still trying to manifest and grow on? Like, what is something that is on the tip of your tongue of like, this is my next step to get better at? What are you?
I feel like just like learning how to be a better singer live.
Yeah.
You know, and because like, you know, I do my warm-ups and this and that, but like my breath control is just really not there a lot of the time, and that's something I'm really actively working on.
Yeah.
Just to be like a better singer live. Because it's like, it's one thing to just like spaz out on stage and look like a frontman, but it's another thing to do that and then also just have like the endurance to sing the damn song.
Yep.
You know, and that's really something I'm trying to work on.
What does the active work look like? I've heard people like doing their sets on the treadmill kind of thing.
That's something I can't do that because I go to Planet Fitness, and I feel like if I do that, then what do you call it?
There's a great TikTok where you made there. There is a content angle here that I wish my brain didn't jump to.
You know what? I mean, maybe, but like,
boy, there's views to be had.
I don't think I could go back to that Planet Fitness again if I did that. But
there's enough views. You
get some looks, you know, for sure. But I mean, that's definitely something. I know my guitarist David does that. You know, he's like, I think it was like before our first show or like our second show or something. He's like, dude, I went for like a 3-mile jog and I just sang the set twice. I'm like, you're crazy because you're just doing harmonies. You know what I mean? I'm like, how are you ahead of this? Like more ahead of this than I am. So I mean, there's that for sure. I like to just like do like, you know, just work out more, because like when you work out more, I mean, you're working your diaphragm, and that alone is a muscle.
Yep.
So when you exercise more, I'm gonna get called out so hard by all the singers out there probably, but for me. It just like, it helps my breath control that way, and it helps me like, I don't know, it just helps me sing better. Yeah. That's the best way I could put it in simple terms. So that's something I kind of do like before a show or before practice or just in general to make me feel good.
Yeah.
Stay hydrated, do warm-ups, do breathing exercises. That's kind of it in a nutshell.
Last piece for you here. Interest outside of music. So we spent this whole time talking about everything that we do on stage, off stage, all the music parts of this. To me, that's all great and fine and dandy. What I always appreciate is that it's such a niche part of our lives, and we're all holistic people, and there's so much more of us that exist outside of music here. Any hobbies outside of music that we haven't touched on? Any big parts of Chris?
I like to fly planes.
Okay.
I'm not a pilot. I don't have my pilot's license. There was a point in time where I was considering doing that at 15, but I just been such like an aviation enthusiast like my whole life.
Interesting.
And like at home I have like a whole flight sim set up.
Yeah, that's
and I'm
so
just,
sick.
You know, it's like, fuck it.
Okay.
You know?
How far into like do you have like, are you hoping to get like your aviation license? I have a couple of pilots in my life and I should know these terms better, but are you interested in like flying? Like
not really.
Okay.
I mean, we've joked about it a long time ago where it's like, oh, Chris can fly. He could just fly us to Europe on an international tour, you know?
Sure.
But nah, no real like interest in getting my pilot's license just because like school is expensive and I do not feel like going to school again. So
it went so great the first time.
Totally. Dropped out twice, basically. But no, like I don't know. I have fun on the sim.
Yeah.
I have Microsoft Flight Simulator for any of the nerds out there.
Yep.
And that alone is just so detailed and like so like immersive, where it's like, I'm cool with this, you know, like
that's the way,
you know,
a touch safer as well.
Yeah, a little bit safer. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's kind of it. You know, I skateboarded for a while.
Yep.
Here and again, I'll pick it up and go out and just kind of, you know, once a year. But now because I'm so invested in music, I'm like terrified of getting hurt.
Yep.
But in high school, that didn't, you know, side note, high school, oh my God, senior year, I was like in such a state of mind where I didn't care about anything, you know, and that made me like so happy, like in a good way, of course. Like, but I just like, I went to go skate when I felt like it. I went to go play drums when I felt like it. I played guitar, you know, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know, and I made like so many friends and, but I skateboarded every single day. And when spring came around, I'd get home from school, drop my bag off, and just go to the park until 8 p.m. and show up the next day just beat, like scrapes, sunburn, you know, like the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, well, I'm doing it again today. So that's like, you know, skateboarding, flying planes.
I have brought up the story many times on the show, and I always feel bad bringing it up because I know anyone who listens to the show will have heard the story before. And when I listen to my podcast myself, I get annoyed when people tell the same stories. But what I come to realize is like, I'm only one person. I only have so many ideas here. Whenever skateboarding comes up, I always have to share this tidbit here. It's a Jerry Seinfeld quote, which is a crazy person to quote related to skateboarding. But he had something from that like comedians getting coffee in cars thing that he did, where he was like, it was a show where he would sit and basically do a podcast, but sitting in a car with some person. The thing that he brought up here is that whenever he would see skateboarders, he would go, they're going to be okay because they're falling and getting back up in a way that is like the best lesson of learning here.
Yeah.
And as we talked about all the ups and downs of drums, all the learning here, all the 5 a.m. things, it's like, that's what it was. That's where you learned how to do this. It wasn't in school. I learned it in school. It doesn't sound like it quite stuck for you in school.
It's
but it
really
was
true,
falling on a kickflip and fucking your elbow up and going, no, I'm going to do that kickflip. And it's interesting because, in the Seinfeld version, he kind of sets it up with just like, we see skateboarders and go, oh, they're fucked. And it's like, no. They're going to be great because there is no one more resilient and more facing the consequences of resilience than those skateboarders. Yeah. And there's nothing more personal than falling and being scared of the staircase and busting your knee.
Exactly.
And pop shove it hits your ankle for the 1,000th time.
Oh
and
my God.
All these, these repetitive injuries that you get from skating.
Yeah. And like that was my big thing. Like back then, you know, it was like, you know, I always appreciated the determination of the skateboarding culture. You know, it's like you're gonna jump down 15 stairs, fall on your face, and like just get back up and do it again. You know, there was this meme that I saw of like, you know, nothing against anybody that plays sports, but there was like, you know, a football player like grabbing his knees, like, and it says 6 weeks, and then a baseball player like getting hit in the elbow like 8 to 12 weeks, and then like a hockey player, you know, same kind of thing, and then you just see this picture of a skateboarder just like scorpion on the ground with El Toro right behind him, and underneath it just says one more try. And it's so true, you know, and like that alone just says so much.
100%.
Like
that's the
determination.
That's the blueprint for where it's all kind of comes full circle to me. The skateboarding to me is the missing piece of Chris that makes everything else we talked about in the last hour make sense here. Beautiful. We done did it. Episode 107 with Chris Kallian.
Yes.
Was I close? Did I get it?
Close enough.
Okay.
Close enough.
Beautiful. I'll take my wins where I can get them. Sick. Anything we want people to know on the way out of here? So November 8th with Anthems at Rock Hopper in Milford, Connecticut. Kallian Productions for any kind of audio, music stuff here. Take the Flame has singles. We have music videos everywhere here. Anything I'm forgetting that people should know about? Where can they find you on social media? What's all the good stuff here?
Follow my personal, Chris Kallian. Follow my band, Take the Flame. And I think everywhere is just at Take the Flame. TikTok is Take the Flame Band. Listen to our Spotify. Check us out. Come to a show. Come say what's up.
Hell yes. You know? Do it. Good homies. It'll all be linked below as well. I like to ask people because I think it's important for audio. But go click the links below. It's all there. It's all present. Life is good. Life is great. Episode 107. We done did it. We will talk next time, friends.
Sweet. Thank you.